Salespeople often develop bad habits in their elevator pitches. Certain ways of introducing ourselves seem natural, mainly because we get stuck in a rut and don't think about how effectively we're communicating. Let's first examine the ways we introduce ourselves. Listen to the Janrec sales team and see if you'd like to model your elevator pitch on any of their openings.
How are you today? I'm calling to inform you of our award-winning technological advancements in the field of bioengineering.
I'm wondering if you can help me. I know that your company is actively seeking bioengineering solutions. Could you direct me to the head of research and development at our global company?
Just touching base. Are you interested in hearing about new developments in bioengineering?
I'm sorry to bother you. Do you have time to discuss our new breakthroughs in bioengineering?
Saying, "How are you today?" is just a throwaway line. It's an automatic opener you use without thinking. No one believes you're sincere. Asking someone to help works in certain circumstances. It's certainly not something you'll want to use on every call. You need to develop flexibility when approaching prospects. Let's listen to some other openings and evaluate their effectiveness.
The reason for my call is that your company has just announced its acquisition of a Moscow-based supplier, and our new bioengineering breakthroughs will allow you to establish a dominant market share in Eastern Europe.
Are you familiar with our company? No? Well, we're a company at the forefront of bioengineering research.
I want to be
After succeeding in obtaining a referral, you need to set up a meeting now. You need to get 15 minutes on a potential buyer's calendar. You need to switch gears from prospecting mode, where you're just trying to get someone's attention, and begin to create interest in your product in a careful, controlled way. You may be tempted to launch into your sales pitch, asking your boilerplate questions. How many of this do you have? How many of that do you have? What are you using for this? What are you using for that? Your sales pitch is just saying, this is how great we are. But you've done nothing to develop rapport, and you've done nothing to differentiate yourself. This lesson will take you step by step through creating an elevator pitch and using it to put together a winning sales call. One of As a busy salesperson, you need to judge viable prospects from those clients who politely show interest so as not to hurt your feelings. It's easy to say, sure, send me information, just to get a salesperson off the phone. If you insist on learning more about the customer's needs, then you can discern whether someone's just blowing you off. Can I set up a brief meeting with you to understand what your needs are and what information I should send you? No, just send me information. Now I know you're treating me as a transaction, so guess what? I'm going to send you a boilerplate information. I probably won't even talk to you ever again. The best answer in sales is yes. The second best answer is no. This world of maybe I'm interested, maybe I'm not, no one has the time for those games. Rather than wasting time on such prospects, you can pursue clients who are willing to engage with you. The last thing you want to do is start peppering your client with your list of standard questions and digging for pain points. How many of this do you have? How many of that do you have? And what plans do you have for that? That's doctor checkup stuff. Your clients are sitting on the other end of the table going, yes, no, maybe, and then we find pain, and suddenly we get excited about it. Let me dive into that pain, stick my finger in it, and poke around for a little while, because I have a solution for it. If you stop and think about it for a second, you know your client has a deer-in-the-headlights look, or is at least looking at her watch, wishing the call were over. So what should you do? First of all, slowly get a client's temperature level up. As a salesperson, you're all hyped up and ready to sell, sell, sell. And they have trouble remembering what this meeting is all about. Secondly, put them in the driver's seat and let them be the expert. Talk to them about trends in their industry. Talk to them about their long-term goals. Get them talking, not just small talking, but conversation about what they're interested in. What we can control as sales professionals are the words that come out of our mouths. The number of words in the English language is enormous. We're like magpies, stealing a shiny bit from Latin, another shiny bit from French or Arabic or German. Counting all the scientific and specialty terms, English has over 600,000 words. The number of commonly used words slips all the way to 250,000, while the average college graduate has 20,000 words in his vocabulary. Finally, our active vocabulary hovers around 8,000 words. Those are words that we use at least once a year and know what they mean. We acquire the majority of the vocabulary by the time we hit the age of 13, even though we continue to pick up new terms here and there as we grow older. You would think, given that our active vocabulary is a small subset of a complete dictionary, that it would be easy to speak the same language. Now, do you think that the 8,000 words that you use are the same 8,000 words that your client uses? Sometimes. Have you ever been on a sales call where everything clicked, where you made the perfect connection, but then you try the same approach on your next call and it's a train wreck? On the first call, it's likely that you were using a shared vocabulary. On the second call, you probably had little overlap in your shared vocabulary. One of the toughest things about the English language is that words can sound the same, but mean something completely different. If you see, he gave her a ring last night, you can't tell whether she chatted on the telephone or got engaged. We perceive information immediately. It's the way we're wired. And misunderstandings can occur in the blink of an eye. Sure, we can logic our ways out of it, but our initial reaction is quick and decisive. You have to pay careful attention not only to the technical language, industry jargon and buzzwords, but ordinary language itself. That's where you can often slip up. Neurolinguistic programming, or NLP, examines how we're hardwired to interpret language. Without going into any great detail about synapses and executive brain functions and neurochemical transmitters, let me just boil down NLP into a few basic insights. First, we trust in those who are like ourselves. You work in an oil field, I work in an oil field. Great, let's go grab some coffee. We often perceive information quickly without awareness. We don't spend a lot of time analyzing our own processes of interpretation, except when things go radically wrong or we're stuck in a classroom somewhere reading sonnets. Finally, we can influence people through the choice of our words. Words are power. According to NLP, there are two basic types of language, sensory and non-sensory. Sensory words appeal to our different senses, sight, hearing, and touch, while non-sensory words, or digital words, fail to excite our senses. These are words like analyze, benefit, capability, and so on, that you can't trace back to a definite sensual impression. These are essentially flavorless and formless, without the ability to really wake us up. These are words that somebody somewhere along the way told us we had to use in order to sound intelligent. But instead, they make you disappear into the fog of empty words like all other salespeople who rely on digital words for their value propositions. Each of us has a dominant way of processing information. Click an information processing style to learn more. The important point about language types when it comes to making a sales call is this. You have to mix it up. Sometimes you can be juggling monkeys on a ball of fire during a presentation, and half the audience will be glued to the screen, completely oblivious. Another section will be too busy flipping through their handouts or doodling to notice the monkeys on the flames. When you're presenting in these early stages of the sales process, you won't know what sensory types you're dealing with. So you have to appeal to all the senses. You also have to know your own tendencies. If you're a visual type, chomping at the bit during awkward silences, you may be frustrated by a kinesthetic client who keeps turning over questions in his mind. Every salesperson has an elevator pitch they can pull out of their pocket and deliver. It's an essential part of the sales toolbox. Yet often, the elevator pitch doesn't work too well. It may be something that marketing sends your way, about 3 paragraphs long, that if we took a deep breath and raced along, we might be able to cover it in about 45 seconds. It can be a show-up and throw-up exercise that can't be differentiated from everyone else's sales pitch. Take my name out, put your name in, stick a couple value propositions, and there you have it. Ugh. What you have is a long-winded drone that won't interest a soul. The comment that arises after an elevator pitch should be an enthusiastic, interesting, or tell me more. If at the end of your pitch you get a mechanical, oh, interesting, why don't you send me some information and follow up with me in a month? Well, that's a failed elevator pitch. I would almost rather have someone call me a liar, because then I know they're engaged. I've earned, at the very least, the right to keep talking. Let's listen to some elevator pitches. You can decide whether to employ them at the elevator or send them back to the drawing board. Drag the salespeople either to the elevator to deliver the pitch or send them back to the office.
Hi, this is Joe Klein from our global company. I'm just checking in to see if your needs have changed with regards to data mining services. We believe we possess the finest research methodology of any data mining company on the market.
Thank you for taking my call. The reason for my call is that I understand that your company is trying to expand its target market segment, moving into more hotly contested markets. Our global company's data mining services can provide you with the right data to increase your internet sales 45%.
Hi, Sarah. This is Bill from our global company. We offer comprehensive solutions for companies interested in using new data-driven marketing strategies to pinpoint neglected market segments.
The reason for my call is that our global company's information solutions can markedly improve your company's efficiency and productivity. Last year, we were recognized as one of the top innovators in integrated knowledge systems.
Thanks for taking my call. I have been watching your company's expansion into global markets carefully, particularly in India. We have had remarkable success in gathering market data in the major Indian markets through both traditional market research and advanced data mining techniques. Our experience in global markets can allow you to hit the ground running.
Hi, Sally. Sorry to bother you. I'm a sales rep from our global company, and I think I can really do wonders for your company's global marketing. Our company has a proven track record in increasing sales by providing the most accurate customer data.
Thanks for taking my call. I have been watching your company.
The reason for my call is that our global company's information solutions can markedly improve your company's efficiency and productivity. Last year,
Thank you for taking my call. The reason for my call is that I
Hi, this is Joe Klein from our global company. I'm just
So what are the characteristics of a good elevator pitch? First, they have to be short, 5 to 15 seconds. If you keep adding to your elevator pitch, we do this and this and this, you're doing way too much. You should craft a single short sentence that encapsulates your brand message. Your elevator pitch should inspire curiosity. You want to provide just enough information to pique their curiosity, but not enough information that you've lost control. You want to parcel out information to keep them intrigued and keep them from deciding that they've heard enough to dismiss your value proposition. Your elevator pitch should also be polished and precise. If you have a strong elevator pitch, you can employ it anywhere, at any time, which allows you to get your thoughts together and be flexible. Your pitch should also be passionate and compelling. If you don't care, why should I? Everything in sales is about the client. Put yourself in their shoes. Why should they call you back? Why should they spend even 2 seconds listening to your voicemail? Your message must be unique. If you're just blathering on about productivity or cost savings, you're invisible. It's being a chameleon in a bad way. You faded into the landscape. You need to get down to specifics in terms of your value, not in terms of the nitty-gritty details, but in terms of what specifically you can deliver to the customer. Your pitch should also reflect your personal beliefs. It's difficult to fake real enthusiasm or to completely hide your skepticism about a lousy product decision or a general direction your company is taking. Obviously, you have to sell to your strengths, your competitive advantage as it relates to your customers' needs. Finally, you got to go big or go home. While you can't go the way of the snake oil salesman, who's all style and no substance, you can borrow some of his attitude towards the sales pitch. You can project a larger-than-life presence, pushing your claims to the point that folks will scratch their heads almost in disbelief. I say almost, because you must have something to back up your claims. That larger-than-life aspect is communicated powerfully by your word choice. Orchestrating a solution can suggest the beat of a kettle drum and the blare of trumpets. Grappling with problems can suggest the controlled intensity of a sumo wrestler. How you introduce yourself is key, and it sets the stage for the conversation. You place yourself at a disadvantage by employing weak introductions that are commonplace in sales. The first automatic opener you need to get rid of is, "How are you today?" I have 2 objections to this opening. First, everybody uses it. And second, do you really care? I usually get the "fine, what do you want" response. Clients know that you're either being insincere or just plain oblivious to how you use language. You think you're developing rapport, but you're not. You sound like every other sales rep on the planet. Next, let's take a look at the phrases touching base or checking in. These should be your least favorite openers. Why? If you're touching base or checking in, there's no reason for your call, so there's no reason for them to call you back. The next target is the question, is this a good time? Is it ever a good time? Naturally, you should respect people's time. But that's a very close-ended question, and you open yourself up to a negative response. CEOs or C-level executives almost never have time. A similarly weak opening is, are you free? They're never free. If you open with, "I'm sorry to bother you," you imply this conversation is going to be annoying. Right out of the gate, you diminish your credibility. You're saying that you don't really have the status to speak with them. You're a mosquito buzzing in a sleeping giant's ear. Remember, power buys from power. Next, if you immediately ask, "Are you familiar with us?" you have also invited a negative response. If an executive is not familiar with you, then you've already put yourself on the defensive. You're not even on their radar. They also might know your company and have a negative opinion of your brand, which makes it more difficult to show what you can do. There are occasions when you should use the opening line, "I wanted to introduce myself to you." If you're taking over an old territory, by all means use this line. But if you're prospecting into a new territory, they could care less who you are. Finally, if you use, "I want to be honest with you," you're implying that every other time you're lying. Every executive has been punched in the face by this one. If you say you want to be honest with a C-level executive, then they will stop you dead in your tracks. A powerful introduction should be simple and direct. Why not simply use, "Thank you for taking my call." Then add, "The reason for my call today is..." By stating up front the reason for your call, you avoid just checking in or touching base. The client immediately knows what you want. Next, you can say that the call will only take a few moments, instead of asking, is this a good time? By saying that you'll only take a few moments, you suggest confidence and respect rather than weakness. At times, you may want to choose a softer approach. For example, you can parlay being new to a territory into something positive. You can sometimes score a meeting by asking for help. Can you help me? It can be very effective because fundamentally, everyone wants to help, and there's a pattern interrupt effect. When you're working with gatekeepers, for example, you don't want to trot out the same old message. For most sales calls, you could place a recorded message on both ends of the conversation and hit play. Hi, is Bill there? I don't know who's calling. This is John from our global company. What are you calling for, John? We do training and consulting for Fortune 500 companies, and we're wondering if you wanted to talk with us about training. I don't know, let me check. He's in a meeting. Can I put you through to his voicemail? Sure. Hi, Bill, this is John from, and there it goes. Literally, it's just lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat. Office managers are sitting at their desk with their headset on, multitasking, and they put themselves on autopilot. By simply saying, can you help me, you force gatekeepers to engage with you differently. You break that pattern. The final two strong introductions simply make subtle but important shifts in emphasis from the poor introductions. If you say, we want to introduce our company to yours, you've shifted the focus from you to the company and its value proposition. If you say, I want to share something with you, you've established a personal tone without accidentally slurring your character. Sharing implies honesty without suggesting that your modus operandi is deceit. So let's pull it all together. The formula for the winning call is a powerful introduction plus why you now or elevator pitch plus the call to action plus your contact information. The why you now approach is effective because it's about the customer. You're showing due diligence by doing some research on the client, which is better than 99% of all salespeople out there. Most sales reps just smile and dial. They pick up the phone and hope for the best. Are gatekeepers there to keep us out? If they were, they'd be called wall keepers. They're called gatekeepers for a reason. They need to open up gates. To succeed with gatekeepers, you have to do three basic things. 1, be polite. 2, have a reason for your call. And 3, ask for something specific. You're not beating around the bush here. This is not a fluff call. You want something specific. Dealing with gatekeepers is tough. Nobody has the magic bullet. But there are some ways to improve your odds of getting through. First, know when to call. Call early, call late, call at lunchtime. You call at 7:30 in the morning, and it's almost guaranteed there won't be a gatekeeper there. You may, however, catch a CEO answering their phone at that hour. You can also call through other departments. This is to throw off your caller ID. You call into the sales department, and even if they're annoyed, they'll generally put you through. And your call comes from an internal number. Next is the point we've been hammering away at. Get a referral. That's the single most effective way around gatekeepers. You can certainly use your personal charm to establish rapport. You do not want to get on an office manager's bad side. With a carefully crafted elevator pitch and a call strategy, you can generate interest in your product and earn the right to move forward in the sales process. Click an item to learn more. No interest equals no sales cycle. That's the stone cold truth. In business, you need to immediately spark a client's interest. The techniques we've introduced here might seem a bit awkward at first because they force you to rethink some of your automatic sales techniques. But with practice, they'll become second nature. You'll be able to launch into your elevator pitch at a moment's notice. Instead of repeating some tired spiel, you'll be able to zero in on what the client needs.
Read the scenario and then click Next to begin the activity.